I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-minute convos where I help you create a brand of your own unique, real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good night, Brandon Wright. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful night?
I'm doing great. I never have a bad day, so today's just another day that is great for me.
Love it, love it. Well, Brandon, what part of the world are you in right now?
Right outside Boise, Idaho.
All right. And which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this time?
Well, I would say that I am a podcaster just like yourself.
Yeah. Salute. Yeah, tell us about your podcast.
Well, I have one podcast that I've been doing for 5 years called Wright Stuff Radio, and that's with a W like my last name. And it's focused on the conversations about small business that typically you won't read in a book or you won't hear in a conversation, because I am a business owner. I've grown a business. I've downsized a business. I've made lots of mistakes, and I can talk the small business language. So that's what I like to share, the stuff that you can't find in a book.
That's good. Where did the idea come to do the podcast for that?
Well, it came about because being a business owner is awfully lonely. No one really understands your struggles. And if you were to talk to your neighbor who works for somebody, you just can't seem to get somebody that understands what you're going through and get the type of feedback that you'd like to help you in your business. And so I decided, let's bring this conversation, let's be open and authentic and say, hey, I'm a small business owner. I have good times, I have successes, but I also have bad times, and I need to share that with others so I can get their opinion and their feedback, or most of all, hear their experiences so that I can learn from myself.
Now, Brandon, you are absolutely right. I can imagine how many times you've heard that, right? Right? Brandon Wright? No, hey, Brandon, seriously though, by no means is running a podcast an easy task, and definitely a business as well. Why will you continue to repeat the skill of sharing that message of what is the conversations, what are the stories that are happening behind the scenes?
Well, I think one of the lessons I've learned, I started in business when I was 24 years old. I sold it last year at the age of 41. And I started reflecting back on my times. There were times where I looked like I was successful, but I really wasn't. There's many times I can't make payroll and I'm handing out checks and I'm scrambling to find money to make those. And really, the national statistic is 80% of businesses are break even or losing money. So I know that 8 out of 10 people have been in the same situation as me. And so I love hearing other perspectives. I love having conversations to hear other people's stories. And really, we all need hope.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Love it. Where's the best place for someone to connect with you, Brandon?
We just launched a new website called wrightstuffmedia.com. That's with a W. And I put a lot of my content out there, videos, podcasts, and I just came out with a 7 thought-provoking questionnaire. And I'm really excited about that, because I've learned that you need to listen to others, but you need to think for yourself. And that's such a powerful phrase, because you can try to do it somebody else's way, but it's not yours. And you got to understand that just because you think differently and you want to build your business a different way, and it's not like everybody else, that's okay. And you have to understand that's okay, because that's what makes your business yours. And when it's yours, you own it. And that's what separates you from everybody else, is your uniqueness out in the marketplace.
I love it. Love it. Hey, well, on this side of the world, on this side of the podcast, that is something we definitely fall in alignment with you. Every time you said yours, like I'm hearing the name of my book, right? My workbook, which is your own unique real self. So it's not yours, right? It's not your own unique real self. And the importance of your own unique real self definitely helps it to be your own. I love that, Brandon.
You gotta own it. And really, I think that's where my 3 favorite words, fun, freedom, and profit. Because if you want to achieve fun, freedom, and profit by owning a small business, number one, it's got to be fun or we won't do it, or why go through the struggle that we go through and the sacrifice. The freedom is why we're entrepreneurs. The freedom is to build something that expresses who it is that I am, that my business becomes a true representation of myself. And the profit allows us to live a life, right? It's a lifestyle that we can provide for our families, we can provide for our employees, and we can give back to our community. And the profit is a must. It's not a dirty word like a lot of people think. It is the backbone of a business.
Yeah, love it. Hey, well, again, Brandon, you are right. Well, Brandon, tell us one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years.
Well, I think when you look at consistency, for someone like myself, it's one of the most difficult things to do because I'm always going from one thing to another. But I'm consistently trying to be a better husband, be a better father, because there's one thing I've learned is I've been average husband, I've been an average father, but I found that the success of my business is truly dependent on how successful I am at home. If I'm a great husband, I'm a great business owner, I'm a great manager, I'm a great employer. And it really, how I am at home will reflect the success I have at work. I've never found a terrible husband to be a great business owner. So I think there's a direct correlation to the more I grow as a husband and a father, the more successful I will be in business.
And now that you've done that, and I mean, it definitely is a continuous process, right? But now that you're doing that, how does it make you feel?
Well, I think we celebrate the moments that we are proudest of our children, because when they turn 18, that's when you find out, did I convey and install the values of what I wanted to bring them up as? And they're still going to fail, but we take a different position as a parent where we'll always love them. They will continue to screw up and fail, but we've taught them right from wrong, and hopefully they'll always think about doing the right thing. And I think that's important, because how we convey ourselves is through our values. What we become known as, our legacy, is the values of how we've lived our life. And where else could you really display that other than at home and in your business?
Amazing audience, we are live right now with Brandon Wright. Again, he is the Chief Storyteller at Wright Stuff Media. Brandon, let's switch gears for a moment now and let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Brandon, what is your earliest childhood memory?
You know, I think what I remember most are the times I go fishing with my dad, because my dad died when I was 15. And I tried to remember back to those years of what was the man that brought me into this world like. And that's what I remember, is those memories.
So how old do you think you were in that first fishing expedition?
Gosh, I would guess I was probably 6 or 7 years old. I'm sure my dad, who's a true fisherman, took me from the time I could put a pole in my hand.
That's intriguing. So how do you see that memory connecting to who you are today, Brandon?
Well, it's interesting because it's one of those memories that you look back and I remember in the line of the funeral at where my dad was, everybody's paying tribute to him. And someone said to me, they said, "Your dad, I met him for one day 30 years ago. And that day changed my life." And so I reflect back to that and I say, how can someone spend one day with somebody and it changes their life forever? That means I have a lot to live up to if I want to have the influence and the impact my dad had. So what is it that I can do to do the same thing? And I think that one day, that one person, that one comment changed my life and my thinking of who it is that I am supposed to be in this world.
Love it. Hey, can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
What's that?
I love the idea, Brandon, that even in your own uniqueness at that particular point in time, there are things that you can do, and we probably walked over it pretty quickly, but there are things that you can do that are similar to what others do. But understanding in that there is the uniqueness, just like you fishing, just like your father carrying you to fish, but understanding that the way you fish would be different, and then the impact thereafter on others would be different. Like even the way you do business would be different, but I mean, you're still doing the same thing, which is business, right? I just love how that connects and how the principles integrate. So yes, business, you need to have profit, but at the same time, as you said, the uniqueness. Well, you said freedom, profit, and fun, right? But the uniqueness that surrounds that definitely is important. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I think all the years of business, what I always strive for, I could not achieve. And it's when I finally gave up and said, I'm going to run my business my way, that really who I was outside of work and who I was inside of work, I closed that gap. And that gap really changed my business. It changed me. And that's when I found true success. And that's when I found the freedom.
Love it. If we fast forward to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
You know, it's got to be Eye of the Tiger by Survivor. I mean, back then it was Rocky Balboa in Rambo. I don't remember what song was with Rambo, but Sylvester Stallone was the guy that we wanted to be like. We bought the knife, we carried the Rambo knife, and we would always punch our friends and fight just like.
Love it, love it. Even the steps, right? Like you had to run up the steps, right? With the hoodie, right?
Exactly. And after you knock somebody out, we hold our both hands up in the air and we dance around.
Yeah. All right, Brandon. Well, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there is a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Brandon?
I'm ready.
Brandon, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
You know, my children. I'm a big believer in teaching my children what I know.
Are you married?
I am.
Well, you said you have children. How many children do you have?
I have 4 kids. 2 are out of the house and 2 are still here.
Wow. Do you believe in God?
I absolutely do. He is the one and only that I have to answer to first.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
I do. I am a member of the Entrepreneurs Organization.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
I do not.
How about 3 hours a week?
Oh, of course. I got to watch Taboo and Peaky Blinders.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
It depends on the day and what I'm working on. But ever since I sold my business, I am technically challenged, and it takes me a lot longer to figure things out because I have nobody to delegate it to anymore.
Oh. Well, Brandon, if you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents Brandon Wright, what would you say that is?
I think it's my phrase, listen to others, but think for yourself.
Love it. Brandon, this was a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Well, I think the main thing that I would say is the world is crying for people to look up to. We have a lack of leadership. We have a lack of engaged fathers. We have so many problems in this world, and we're bombarded with negativeness. It's a great opportunity for us to make a difference. And I think our world is searching for people like us that are willing to go out and put our thoughts and our ideas. And if we can do that in business or as people, or at least at home, be loving husbands and loving fathers, I think we will change the world to see it and be the way that we would want it to be. It's yearning for people like us to make a difference. Our world needs it right now.
Brandon Wright, thank you, my friend, for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thanks, Angie. Have a great night.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.